for the beautiful and the talented Amanda, the Kitchen Beautician. Welcome, my dear. What you making for us today?
I am making 3 dishes in 45 minutes. What do you think about that?
I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are they?
We have a rosemary lamb with a mint chimichurri and a slaw with Granny Smith apple and zucchini and a dessert that looks and tastes like ice cream but is ready in 5 minutes.
So what do we do first?
Well, I think that we should start the rub for the lamb first. So we're gonna have, I brought herbs from my garden. I have mint and rosemary today.
So give us just kind of the whole tapestry of how you got started in cooking.
Okay, well I don't work in a restaurant. I'm just a home cook just like you. And when my husband was diagnosed with diabetes, I realized that we couldn't continue eating the way we were, which was driving through most of our meals. And the meals that we did cook at home came out of boxes and bags and not necessarily the healthiest choice. So I learned by watching TV to cook whole foods from scratch.
You might ask the question, well, why were you so busy and why could you not cook home food? RMA owns her own business.
Yes, my hair salon we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. We've been in Tacoma that whole time.
Okay, so you've got some beautiful garlic.
I do. We're going to use a fair amount of garlic today.
I love that. Okay, so we have the rosemary. Now we're working on the garlic.
Right. So Hudson, who was here before me, had a really great tip. He said, if you're using jarred garlic at home, use it up and then buy some fresh.
I know. I love those sayings that happen. It's like, yeah, okay, there it is.
That works. So this is going on the outside of the lamb, so I don't need tons and tons and tons of garlic because we're going to actually have garlic also in the chimichurri sauce, and that garlic will be raw. So we don't want to overload ourselves on the flavor here. So
can you ever have too much garlic?
It depends on your friends. Who are you hanging out with afterward, and did they have exactly as much garlic as you did?
You had a good point there. Okay, so I want to talk with you about something. Because,
yes, ma'am.
You have, first off, hold your hands up for a second. Okay, so when we talk about knives, we talk about knives in your hand. And I'm looking at RMA's hands. She has these beautiful, strong, feminine hands. And so I want to ask her about her choice of knives and what do you think works for you? Because obviously when I have Chef Derek and Chef Hudson up here, they have a very different hand, a very different grip, by the sheer fact that they're men and we're women. So as a woman, what knives do you love in the kitchen?
Well, the reason I brought this particular knife is twofold. One, it came with a case, so I could transport it here safely.
Okay, good.
So that was one of the reasons that I brought it. The other is that it's heavy and sturdy, but yet not large and unwieldy. So it's easy for me to chop through something as sturdy as an apple or a lemon, but I can also mince the herbs finely.
It's sweet. What brand is that?
This is Gunther Wilhelm.
Nice, very nice. Okay.
But my favorite working knife at home is, Chef Hudson had the 10-inch Shun knife. I have the 6-inch chef knife.
Okay.
And I find that is really mobile and easy for me to get around.
And is yours a Shun also?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Shuns and Globals seem to be the two names that have been bounced around this tent for the past 3 days.
You want to know why?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, because there's this 2 things that you take into consideration when you're picking a knife. One is price point, and one is efficacy. And what you want is that sweet spot where you're not spending too much money, but you're getting the result that you want. So those 2 brands tend to be kind of in that spot where most people can not feel like they're pouring out blood to buy the knife, but they're getting a good product. In fact, my first $100 knife, my mother was over visiting, and I told her about it, and she said, well, why would you spend $100 on oh, that's really nice. And what do you think she wanted for Christmas that year?
Your knife.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sea salt.
So this is my rub here. I've got some kosher salt, lemon zest, rosemary, and olive oil, and I'm just making a paste, and then we're gonna rub that on the lamb.
Sweet.
And then I think we'll turn the pan up nice and high. Oh, isn't that pretty? So,
Would you like Caitlin to turn that pan up for you?
Caitlin, are you handy?
Thank you, Caitlin.
Okay, so you could certainly put this rub on in the morning before cooking it for dinner, or you could put it on overnight. It doesn't matter. Longer it sits, the better. So as our pan gets heated up, why don't we make our chimichurri sauce? Who's had that before? Okay, so raw garlic, you have to not be opposed to raw garlic to have this dish traditionally made. However, you could make it with roasted garlic.
Ooh.
It'll change the flavor profile, it'll make it softer and more muted. It won't have that bright freshness of the garlic that is traditional to the South American sauce. But how many of us are really committed to staying exactly to the recipe, right? Don't we tweak things to make them our own?
Raise your hand if you tweak recipes constantly. See, there we go.
So maybe your family loves raw garlic and maybe they don't. So you can always take all of these ideas and just tweak them around for what works for you and your family. So I'm gonna throw a couple of cloves of garlic in here and give them a quick toss first before we start. Just playing with the equipment because I like to use all the buttons.
Ha, because you can.
Off, on. Okay, so that's gonna have garlic and some parsley. So we're gonna, you know what, I don't even need to chop these because they're going in the blender.
I was gonna say, nice handful of greens there,
There you go.
Renee.
That's actually one of my favorite smells, the mint and the parsley together.
Fabulous.
Isn't that nice? Okay, so we're gonna do that and some...
Do you have a favorite olive oil?
Well, we happen to sell this one at the salon.
Oh my, no, I did not know that.
Well, the reason we do it is because it's from one of our winemakers. So on their vineyard, they also have an olive grove. And here's a little thing you might not know about olive oil.
Tell me.
Okay, there is an olive oil cartel. And some of the olive oil that you're buying that you think is 100% extra virgin Italian olive oil is in fact not. Buy it from a place where you actually know where the olives were grown. And so this is one of my favorite vineyards. We sell their wine quite a bit, and I love their olive oil.
Oh, sister, I'm coming in.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a little.
I'm coming into the salon. I'm getting some of
Little
this.
taste there. Our shipment should be coming in July.
Oh wow, that's
Isn't that
fabulous.
nice?
Peppery and bright.
And it's very. Notice the color is really green.
Fabulous.
I think my pan's hot enough.
Yes, Caitlin. Oh, you need that. You need that. So you're kind of eyeing the olive oil.
Okay, I don't
You're
measure
busted.
very many
You're busted.
things. I'm an eyeballer kind of thing.
Okay, so something just jumped in
Okay.
the hot tub.
Yes. Hear the sizzle? This is good. We got the right temperature. And I have a little bit, there's oil in that rub, so that's enough to lubricate the pan and keep the lamb from sticking. Maybe turn it down one more click. Cooking on a stove that you're not used to is an interesting art.
Isn't it though?
This last summer, I took a few road trips and I used VRBO and stayed in places that had full kitchens. And I very intentionally cooked only with what was on hand. I didn't bring my favorite anything. I just made do with what it was. And it was really an interesting opportunity to think through why I choose a certain tool over another. And proof that you don't have to have a great kitchen to make great food.
Okay.
That's going. That won't take long. Let me check.
Chimichurri is made.
The chimichurri is made. No, I turned it down a little. We're good.
Beautiful.
Now, the reason I chose all of these dishes were because they are fast to make. And the number one reason that people tell me they can't cook at home is that they don't have time.
You guys agree with that? Don't have time, yeah.
So I wanted to show you things that you can make even on a limited time schedule. Any of this could be made on a work night when you get home. All right, so let's do our 3-minute salad. I like to make things with zucchini for one simple reason. Everyone always has too much of it. If you planted zucchini, you planted too much, and you don't know what to do with it, and you're giving it away to all your friends. So even if you didn't plant zucchini, you may find yourself with a plethora. right? And you can only make so much bread.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Yes.
so grating it up is a great way to use it. You can put it in spaghetti sauce, grate it up.
Yes.
It's delicious that way. But you don't even really need to cook it. It can be eaten raw. So anything that you shave up small enough, beets. You can grate beets
Oh, yes.
and eat them raw. And most of us traditionally only eat them cooked or pickled. So there's a lot of opportunities available to us when we just think
Beautiful.
outside the box.
Now, one year when RMA was here, she brought, and I actually went out and bought this. She made some zucchini noodles for us for pasta. And she had this really cool spiralizer.
And I've gotten to the point now where I really would rather have the zucchini noodles with my pasta sauce. One, it's a way for me to get more vegetables in.
Yes.
And the average American does not get their 5 servings of fruits and vegetables
Nope.
in a day. So swapping out pasta for zucchini is an easy thing. It's faster to cook the zucchini noodles than it is to cook pasta.
Right.
And you're getting more, and then that flavorfulness comes in because pasta on its own doesn't really have a whole lot of flavor.
Yeah, you
So,
can flavor it. And
you
last
gotta
I
add things
checked,
to it.
Zucchini was gluten-free.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. So for me, coleslaw has to have 2 things to make it slaw. Okay? You can put a lot of different things in slaws, but for me, I need to see shredded carrots and I need to taste vinegar. Those are my 2 profiles that I need to have. Nothing makes me more sad than when I order coleslaw or a dish that has coleslaw on it and I don't get any tanginess. So all of these recipes have an amount, but you could certainly use more or less,
Okay.
depending on how you like things to taste.
Beautiful.
And this is the kicker. It's Granny Smith apple.
Okay.
In fact, zucchini and Granny Smith apple also go in a dish that I made last year here, which is guacamole salad.
That's right. Oh, that was such a good dish. Those look beautiful.
Yes, and the zucchini helps the guacamole from turning brown.
Ah, okay, sister. So you're just grating that thing right on the grater.
Yep.
Skin on.
Skin's good for you.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
And when I first started making the salad, I tried to do the apples in little matchstick pieces to make them prettier, but man, that takes a long time. The dressing is going to be sweet enough because it's made with coconut,
Oh,
so
okay.
I feel like I need the tartness of the apple for the balance.
Okay. Wow, look at that.
Okay.
That is beautiful.
And it's going to provide a really refreshing balance for the fattiness of the lamb.
Yeah, talk about crunch, brightness. There it is.
In fact, when I made it at the TV station, the cameraman and the weather girl were
Well,
all
they're like-
saying, "What is that? Where's the recipe? Give me
I
some
love
of that."
Okay, she's getting out the mason jars. Oh, question in the front row here. Now, have you already researched those olives? Do you know the answer? What's you been doing this whole time? What's your question, love?
So I'm assuming the zucchini will keep the apple from turning brown as well?
Well, and also the vinegar. So I've kept this in the fridge for, well, I could probably keep it longer, but I eat it all because it's really delicious. I like to have it for breakfast the next day. It's really good with some fried eggs.
Is it really?
It is.
Okay.
So we want about a half a cup.
And this is?
This is coconut cream. And the difference between coconut cream and coconut milk is the same as the difference between dairy milk and dairy cream.
There we go.
It's thicker and it's got a higher fat content. It's made with 4 parts coconut to 1 part water, whereas milk is equal parts.
Correct.
So
And
a little
this
apple
is?
cider vinegar.
Now, do you have a certain brand you love?
Vinegar I am much more flexible and
Are you?
forgiving on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if you were a Brad's girl or something. So you're making this ahead of time for this big family gathering. How long can this sit in the fridge at the state it is now?
A couple days.
Ooh, nice. So
Okay.
the coconut milk and the vinegar won't affect it at all.
No,
Won't
that's
be
gonna
as crunchy.
make the dressing, and they'll still stay nice and firm because they're not cooked at all. And just because I'm kind of a sucker for citrus, I think we should add a little lemon zest. Orange zest works really well,
Yes,
and it's pretty. I like
it is pretty. So I'm always looking for the vinegar coleslaw as well. Theirs is a more of a sweet coleslaw with raisins in it and the coleslaw, and that's great because there's only 2 schools of coleslaw, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
That is beautiful.
Right.
Because we eat with our eyes.
First.
Any questions for RMA as we kind of work our way down to the ta-da moment?
How are we doing on time?
You're killing it, sister.
Now, I don't work in a restaurant as a chef, so my plating isn't quite as pretty.
Her plating is beautiful. Don't let her fool you on that. Any woman who can do hair and cook, she knows about appearances.
You know what I thought was interesting? When I got married, we did our own flowers for the wedding, and I noticed that styling hair, like an updo, was very similar to building a bouquet. So there are a lot of things that we do in our life that can be translated into other skills in other industries.
So, RMA, what percentage of your conversations when somebody comes into the salon and sits down in your chair, once you get through the what do you want done with your hair today or what are we doing question, what percentage of it turns to food after that point?
Well, it depends on who the client is and how long I've known them, because first we've got to get through all of the what's happening in your world. I've got clients that I've known for almost 30 years, so we have to get caught up on the personal portion of our lives. And in my book, Get Some Therapy, I talk about the stories and the lessons that we've learned in the salon. Okay, so dessert.
We have time for dessert.
We have time, don't we? Do we have time for dessert? You're watching the clock.
We have time for 5 minutes for a good dessert.
All right,
Which I
perfect.
think you mentioned was an ice cream.
Yes, except it's not really ice cream, so I hate to call it that. It is a frozen dessert that doesn't require churning.
Okay.
So you start with
great.
frozen fruit. I have 3 bananas that I chopped up and then froze on a cookie sheet. And they're not quite as frozen as they would be if they were in my kitchen, because I've been here a while.
That's all right.
And then frozen strawberries. And frozen peaches. And
Beautiful.
our coconut cream.
Coconut cream. Chef Toby was here. I don't know if you didn't get a chance to see him, but Chef Toby has totally transformed himself by bodybuilding and going paleo. And he was talking about all the coconut cream he uses now. Look at that. Oh my God. Hello.
Now, when I first tested this recipe, I served it at a family gathering, and there were people of all ages, including children. And you'll notice this has no added sweetener in it, and everyone thought it was delicious. No one thought it was healthy or not worth having on a summer day. And it does also hold up well in the freezer. If you want to serve it on a second day, just kind of pull it out of the freezer to soften just enough that you can scoop it up, but it will freeze up pretty solid.
And
My
there it
food
goes.
process is a little faster than this one. But it's coming together. These are the frozen fruit I had in my freezer at the time. Pineapple would work, blueberries would work. My favorite combinations are ones that are in season at the same time.
Cherries.
So I like peaches with blackberries.
Yes.
I like to make a roasted peaches with a blackberry syrup. That's a good flavor combination because they happen to be in season at the same time. But when you're working with frozen product, it doesn't matter when it's in season because
There we go.
they picked it at its peak of freshness and individually quick froze it for us to use later. All right.
It's getting there.
It is, and this is the only thing I couldn't test ahead of time. I made sure it worked, but I couldn't tell how fast it worked. Okay, see now we're almost done. It's almost come together.
That looks incredible. Okay, so we have recipes here for the beautiful lamb with the chimichurri and the zucchini apple slaw, which, oh my gosh, I'm making this right away. You see a question over there?
Yes.
Oh, hang on 1 second here. And then her website's going to have the recipe for the yummy frozen dessert. Yes, my dear.
Coconut cream. So is this refrigerated or is it canned?
It's in a canned. It's right next to the canned coconut milk in the Asian food section. So they're all kind of lined up. You'll see light coconut milk, and coconut cream. Not every store might have it. I find it at Fred Meyer pretty consistently. It's really good in coffee. Look at that. That looks like ice cream.
And of course, if this was my house, we'd be eating that first.
Yes.
And then we'd be working our way
Eat dessert
to this.
first, right?
That's right. Life's unserved. Beautiful consistency. It looks almost like a gelato.
All right. Smell.
Oh, bananas. The bananas really give it that good hit. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for RMA, our kitchen beautician. We love RMA.